Aloha. The story of John Van Dyke is one of a modern fairy tale. Born during the heart of the world's greatest war, he would live a life devoted to peace and understanding. In his youth, he traveled the world as the son of a diplomat, growing up in places like Germany, Turkey, and Washington, D.C. John would continue traveling throughout his life as a global citizen, visiting well over 100 countries. For college, he'd attend the schools of America, Harvard and Yale. Graduating during the draft years of the Vietnam War, he would choose to teach instead of fighting war. His teaching of the art of law would bring him to the land of peace and love, San Francisco, where he would start his own love story in the elevator of the Hastings Law School when his eyes fell upon a beautiful lady by the name of Sherry Broder. They would embark on a tale of love so powerful that one day it'll just be known as the story of John and Sherry. Their love would bring them to the land of Hawai'i. John would come to Hawai'i as a stranger in a strange and wonderful land. He'd leave the earth as one of Hawaii and all of the Pacific's greatest heroes. John was a gentle genius who strived for peace, justice, and pono in the world, fighting for the rights of those who had no way to speak for themselves. If we do nothing, they win, John would often say. He'd add to that a work ethic that was once described by a fellow high school student in Turkey as, "You want to know about John? If you're going to do something in life, you might as well do it excellently." It's hard to describe the right words to use for John, but many come to mind. Honest, patient, humorous, intelligent, engaging, teacher, coach, loving husband and father. His mind was much like his office, filled to the roof with knowledge and wisdom, but his heart called him to use all his gifts in the service of others. As his youngest son, I had the pleasure of being his student for 30 years. Through his daily teachings as my father, AYSO soccer coach, mentor, and best friend, he made me a better person. So in unison with the thousands who have called John Van Dyke their teacher, I say thank you, John. We will make you proud. Ahui ho.
O ke aloha I ka wahine, I ho'okako I kāna kāne. O nā pua, nā kamali'i mai ka puhaka, o ko lākou a mākua. O ka hai o lelo ana mai a mākou, I ka hāli aloha, no kuhoa, o hala ia. E aloha mai me ka welina, a me ka olu olu. Aloha. It gives me great pleasure to share with you remarks wished to the family and all of you gathered here, to their support and of course the sharing of your love to John Van Dyke. I wish now to share those words of Abigail Kinuiki ke kauli ke kawana nakua. E ke aloha. A peinino. John Van Dyke was a part of a tradition of distinguished scholars who have come to these islands and to this university. However, in so many important ways, he set himself apart from those he followed and set an example for those who will follow him. He came with extraordinary credentials, so have others. He came with boundless energy and enthusiasm for his new home. Again, so have others. He was a remarkably productive academic who inspired his students and produced a wealth of professional and popular writing which gained international attention and praise. Again, so have others. We look back over the decades, remembering and recognizing what set him apart. John Van Dyke played a critical role, perhaps indispensable is a better word, during a critical time in the history of our people. When he joined the university in 1976, the seemingly relentless tide that had been eroding the Hawaiian culture and the legal rights of our people seemed to be turning. However, what we now call the Hawaiian Renaissance was yet in its infancy. There are few of us remaining today who witnessed those years where the rights of our Hawaiian people were viewed with hostility to where our language, customs, traditions, and cultural practices were consciously being directed towards extinction. We fear that without that knowledge, it is nearly impossible to comprehend how tenuous the progress actually was and the power and determination of the forces in opposition. John Van Dyke understood Hawaii's history. More important is that he understood what it would take if the future was to be different from the past. He fully knew the dimensions of the challenge. He persevered, immersing himself in broad study, bringing the highest level of thought and scholarship to everything he did. His work brought fairness to the legal environment in which matters vital to the restoration of what was lost and the preservation of what remains would be determined. Few scholars have had the impact of John Van Dyke during their lives. Rarer still is someone whose contributions will carry on into the distant future, well beyond not just his life, but beyond the lives of everyone gathered here today. We are saddened. His passing is a loss for many. It is particularly painful for his wife, Sherry, his daughter, Michelle, his son, Jesse, and Eric. Indeed, we extend our deepest aloha to you. That sadness is mixed with the deepest gratitude for what he did and for what he has left us. For in addition to his writings, he left a legacy in those he taught and guided, and we look to those who learn from him to carry on in that legacy. Side note, and we all saw that today for those who stood up. Mahalo nui. Let us do what we can to assist them and together support the institute created in John's name. I have contributed and urge you all to do the same so his spirit and his example can be perpetuated. A life far too short, but one indeed lived to the fullest. Aloha, pumihana e John. Abigail, kinuiki, ke kauluki, kavana nakoa. Aloha.